A leading energy industry group giving House Republicans a roadmap to how to boost fossil fuel production. The group is called Power to the Future, and they are writing, quote, since the start of his presidency, Biden has indulged in apocalyptic concerns about climate change at the expense of American energy production, workers, and consumers. The results of Biden's green assault on American energy have been disastrous. Larry Behrens is a spokesman for that group, Power the Future, and joins us now. Larry, good morning to you. So what are your expectations here? How much can Republicans really do by just controlling the House alone? And what are some of your wish list items that you hope that they will accomplish?
Yeah, good morning, Carly. Great to speak with you. You know, American people sent a new Congress, a new House to Washington because they've been hurting and they're heading into the most expensive holidays that many of them can remember. So some of the things that they can do, obviously they can be passing legislation. They can pass legislation to make it so that no president could put a moratorium on oil and gas leasing without the approval of Congress. They could pass legislation to restart Keystone Pipeline. And more importantly, they could start holding accountable these agencies that have adopted Joe Biden's America Last energy policy. We're over 1 million barrels of oil a day down in production under Joe Biden since President Trump left office, and we are all seeing the effects of that right now.
Yeah, a lot of these things, though, on your list, you do need a President Biden signature for. So are you hopeful that anything will really change?
You know, we have to be honest. President Biden has embraced this America Last energy agenda. And so, no, he's probably going to take a veto pen to a lot of those things. But that doesn't mean that the House can't control the purse strings. They can't hold hearings. They can't stop appointments. You know, Joe Biden has used little nooks and crannies of his administration that a lot of Americans have never heard of, like the Federal Energy Regulation Commission, to try to stop natural gas pipelines. Well, what have we seen happen to the price of natural gas? And so they can try to stop those appointments. They can try to cut budgets, and they can hold hearings to hold them accountable. And every time they take an action that hurts Americans' families.
Larry, how long would it take to get back to energy independence if the next administration was pro-fossil fuel? And also, what does that mean, energy independence? Is there a benchmark for that?
That's a great question. You know, energy independence in America is something that Republicans and Democrats used to agree on. If you watch those presidential debates from decades ago, they all wanted it, and we achieved it under President Trump. It means we're making enough energy that we meet all of our needs here in the United States, and we're able to send some to the rest of the world. We had that just 3+ years ago for the first time in the history of our country, or maybe even the 1950s. And so we can do that. How long it'll take to get back, unfortunately, America's energy infrastructure can be undercut with the stroke of a pen. We saw that with Keystone. And so it would take some time, maybe well over a year, maybe two. But don't underestimate the American energy worker if they have an administration in Washington that will just get out of their way.
Well, also, there was this UN climate conference that just ended in Egypt, and it ended with this deal that the United States and other developed nations would pay reparations to poorer countries for the climate effects that they are facing. So that's one headline there, that we're going to be paying reparations. The other is that in this deal, it looks like China isn't considered a developed nation, even though they're the second largest economy in the world. Yes. So they won't be paying reparations. I mean, how did this happen, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's absolute insanity. It is just part of the green agenda where they grift money back and forth and make sure that everyone who is supporting it publicly gets paid. I mean, Joe Biden put $369 billion in the Inflation Reduction Act to go to his green agenda friends. So when you look at China, that's where all the solar panels that Joe Biden wants to buy are made, and they do it using fossil fuels. So they're able to skirt the rules, but yet they point fingers at the rest of the world, saying that you need to weaken yourselves by following this agenda. They don't follow it themselves. You know, a president who holds America to a fair standard on the world stage would be really nice, and one that puts energy first in our country so that we have more flexibility when we're negotiating with others across the world.
Yeah, China emits, this is from the Wall Street Journal, 2/3 more CO2 than Europe and the United States combined. Coal accounts for 60% of China's power generation, and more new coal plants are set for approval through 2025 than the entire existing U.S. fleet in China. So maybe we should start there. Larry, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Carly, so great to speak with you. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. I like the festive background too.